Yo, what's good everybody? Hope y'all doing well. So Future just dropped his project Mixtape Pluto, and in this video I'm going to be showing y'all how producers like Wheezy and Southside produce for this album. And I don't think I got to say too much else, so let's just jump right into it. Alright, so first thing, we're going to start with this blank FOP. I want to start with the tempo. A lot of the beats on this album are kind of on the slower side for Future. So beats like Lil Demon, Ready to Cook Up, and Told My, those are all kind of in this range of like 130 to 140 beats per minute. So for this beat, I'm going to roll with something that's closer to 130. I think for now I'll bump it up a little bit faster, so we'll start with 132 beats per minute. Alright, so the first plugin I'm going to open is Contact, and I'm going to go to Ethno World 6. I'm going to get this string instrument called the Grand Monochord, and I've been using it for my bass notes recently, and I'm going to do the same thing for this beat. So now that we got this open, I'm going to go into the piano roll. I noticed the key of a lot of these beats were in this lower range from like B minor to D sharp minor. We'll start with something in the middle, so let's try like C sharp. And that's pretty low, so I'm actually gonna move it up to this one. And we'll have that go for 2 measures. And then I kind of want the 5th note too, so we'll throw down the 5th note in the scale, which is G sharp. And let's just see what it sounds like if we layer this 1 octave up. Alright, I'm liking that. So we got that kind of dark bass sound already. And so all I'm going to do is copy this, and I'm going to start by moving this up 1/2 step. Typically when you have your 5th note in the scale, you move it up to the 6th note, it creates more of a dark vibe. So it'll sound something like this. Alright, so I'm liking that. I don't think I want to change anything too much. So I'm just going to duplicate this again. For the last couple measures, I want to throw in a little switch up. And this is something that's more common in trap beats more recently, but it was also used on a couple beats on this project. And that's taking your root note and moving it up 1/2 step at the end. And all that's going to do is just create even more tension, similar to this 1/2 step difference right here. Except this one isn't technically in the key, but it still ends up fitting in anyways. And that sounds something like this. So putting it all together, this is what it sounds like. So I'm going to throw that into a mixer track, and I think I want to start with an EQ. Roll the lows off. This is going to help give some space to the 808s. And I'll cut out some of the highs just so it's not as harsh. I'm actually going to throw on some Portal just to see if I can sauce it up a little bit. Alright, this is kind of interesting, but I don't want it to be super pronounced. So next thing I'm going to do is go to Analog Lab, and I'm just going to play around with some presets. Start off with this black hole one. We'll start off with like a bell or something. Getting more like synth vibes from this one, so I'm basically just going to use this framework for my synth too. We'll just copy this framework for now, just so we got something, and then I can kind of adjust it as we need to. Alright, so I like the ambient aspect of this, but it's not too dark sounding. So I'm gonna try out some different presets, and I'll come back when I got the final one. Alright, I like this sound, this texture pad from the Silbon Bank by my boy Loop Legend. Okay, so I think I have a little bit too much high end on this, so what I'm gonna do is delete these and copy these down an octave and see what it sounds like. Alright, so I like this a lot better. It fits the overall vibe of what I want. And so routing this to a mixer track, let's throw on some effects. First things first, I'm gonna roll off the lows. Let's add like a flanger. Alright, I'm not rocking with a flanger. Let's do a chorus instead. We'll set the mix level to like 40%. And I want this to be a little louder, so we'll throw a compressor on, just put some gain up. Lastly, I want to throw on some Portal on this too. Honestly, I might just use the same preset because I thought that was pretty good and just adding a little space to it. I'm gonna drop it an octave for now. Just for when we're adding the drums and all that. I don't know if I'm done with the melodics completely, but I want to start throwing down the drums, and then later on if I want to throw in another counter melody, we can. But I'm just gonna pick out the drum sounds real quick. Alright, so per our normal procedure, we're gonna start by putting down our snare. Keep it super simple. Just third beat of every measure. Go ahead and do that. Next we'll throw down just the basic 2-step hats and put some rolls down too while we're at it. So I'm gonna go to the magnet, go to 1/2 step and get the brush here. And so I'm just gonna copy this over here. And then for the last measure on this one, I'm gonna put in a different type of roll. Use the 1/6 beat snap to grid, roll off the velocities like this. Probably move that to the end. All right, so this is what the hi-hats are sounding like. I'm actually gonna take this roll right here and move it over one measure. Same thing with this one over here. Next thing I think I want to put down are the open hats. The first one I want to start with is this one. I'll just leave it on the start of all the odd measures just to keep it simple. We can go back through and add some if we need to. And after that, I'm gonna open up the 808. Of course, turn the hold all the way up, everything else down. Let's just lay down a pretty basic 808 pattern. Alright, so that's cool. I want to add a second 808 pattern because I already know this first one's going to get boring. So I'm just going to copy and paste that 808 pattern into here. You can just do that by going to the channel rack here, highlighting the channel you want, hit Control C and Control V. The primary difference with this one is I want to throw in a roll right here. So I think I'll use the 1/2 step snapping and get this little slice tool. Alright, so that's cool. We'll go back to the original one. Now I'm gonna go through and add in a couple more of these open hats. I also have a secondary open hat. This one we're not gonna use too much. Alright, so let's throw down the kick. For the most part, this is probably just gonna follow the 808. Alright, so I think I got pretty much every drum sound that I want, but it's starting to sound a little bit boring, so I'm gonna throw in an accent or a phrase on top of this. Alright, so I'm gonna grab this accent from my upcoming multi-kit. We drag and drop it in, it's already time stretched, so you don't gotta worry about all that. So we're just gonna switch to stretch. And so this key is A sharp minor, so we gotta move it up, how many? B, C, C sharp. We gotta move it up 3 half steps. So we'll go to pitch here, put it to plus 300 cents, and now it should be in key. Alright, that's a little bit too high pitch for my liking, so I'm gonna go to the range here, put it to 12, put the pitch all the way to the left. So basically we're just putting it down an octave. Turn it down a little more. Alright, so I'm gonna route this to a mixer track and just kind of level out the melodies for now. And I'm gonna go ahead and route all these sounds to the mixer track. And we'll do a quick little level out right now. I think I got pretty much everything I want in terms of all the 8-bar loops, so I'm just gonna go ahead and arrange this now. I want to do one more thing before I fully arrange it, and that is make a secondary analog lab pattern where I'm just going to be pitching it up 1 octave back to the original. That'll help with making sure the beat doesn't get too boring. And so these synth melodies are bleeding out a lot, so what I'm going to do is render these out as audio clips. Just go ahead and replace it in the playlist like right here. So I'll just go ahead and do the same thing for this. Go to its mixer track, arm it, and then render it out. Getting a little bit sick of hearing the same key, so I'm just gonna go and throw some sound shifter on the master and just play around with it a little bit. After this, I'll pretty much have the final beat. Alright, so I'm gonna pitch this up by 2 half steps to D sharp minor. So I'm gonna put this up to 500. This one's gonna be plus 200. I'm gonna go ahead and select my contact and my 2 808s, and then right click on them, and then hit transpose and go plus 2. See what this sounds like. Yeah, no. I'm actually gonna move this down 1 half step from the original, so to C minor. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and duplicate this and maybe throw in a couple transition sounds and all that, and that'll be pretty much the final beat. Alright, so thank you for watching this video. Appreciate all y'all tapping in. Like I've been saying, new multi-kit is on the way. I think I'm about 60-70% of the way done with it. And yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this one, and I'll see you on the next video.